It is the first Saturday college football. Um, I say not first Saturday, week one, because week zero was there as well. But yesterday, college football, we took Virginia Tech, or I took Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech won everywhere except for on the scoreboard. Their quarterback kept throwing interceptions. That hurt. Uh, Old Dominion got a big win. Virginia Tech had to literally like miss a field goal snap and it gets ran back for a touchdown. So there was just a lot of stuff that went bad in that game. Um, as far as to lose that, it just the overall of that whole game. It took a lot of really bad things to happen to get that loss. Which, I mean, when I think about it, it was probably a bad handicap in the end there, just because of the unknowns on the Virginia Tech side. But from a dominant standpoint, Virginia Tech dominated that game. The quarterback just made some pretty big mistakes, and it ended up costing them. The last interception wasn't even on him; it went right through his receiver's hands. But either way, um, don't buy into Old Dominion. Old Dominion didn't upset anybody; they just happened to get the win there. It wasn't very good. It was a terrible game. I watched every bit of it. Um, Virginia Tech's going to struggle in the ACC this year, so we did learn that. We're going to keep that in mind. They are going to have a lot of problems. Virginia Tech's going to get beat a lot in the ACC, um, and they're going to get beat bad, but they're going to be probably getting a ton of points week in and week out. Toward the end of the season, they'll probably have some value, but right now they're untouchable. The only way would be to fade them if you had a Virginia Tech game going. Um, today, today, big day in college football. There's some massive games. The Notre Dame and Ohio State game is so huge. Um, it'll knock one of those teams after today will not be viable for the national title playoff. It will knock one of them out. Um, you would think that if Ohio State lost, they would have a path back in, and they would if they went undefeated the rest of the way. But I don't think they will. So I actually think today, whichever team loses, Ohio State or Notre Dame is out. They can just hang it up. So if you have futures bets on one of those two to win the national title, you better hope they win today, because I just think this game is too marquee and they won't be able to recover, because I do think there's going to be some undefeated teams in college football. I don't think it's going to be hard to beat Alabama. Anyone in the SEC, I don't think there's any team in the SEC that is 7 points within Alabama, I don't think there's any of them. And I'm a big SEC guy. I don't think it's there. I think Alabama's too tough. They have too good a quarterback, too good of skill players, and the defense is there. I think Alabama's going to win the national title again. That's what they're the favorite, obviously, but I just don't see another team as talented overall, and I didn't think that last year. I thought there were other teams as talented. So it's just one of those years where they just have all the pieces there. Could they slip up? Sure, they've done it before. They've slipped up a few times. Think of Johnny Manziel. Even last year, they slipped up against A&M. Um, so, is it possible they have a loss? Yeah, but will they? Probably not. So, if you did want to bet Alabama, just go all the way. I mean, you're not getting any value out of it, really. So, it's not really a great play. But if you did bet like maybe them to go undefeated, because that's a bet you can make. You get a lot better odds on it. Hey Larry, what's up, buddy? So that's a lot better odds on that one. But guys, yesterday, baseball on YouTube. I said take the Mets and we're gonna money line stack it today. So everything we put on the Mets yesterday, the bet plus the winnings, we got it through. Now we get Scherzer versus Patrick Corbin today. Now this money line has went crazy. It's at 455, which totally makes sense because it's Scherzer versus Patrick Corbin. So you can do this two ways. You can just pile it all on that money line and take the big hit. You know, you're looking at only getting 25% return, or a little less actually, probably like 22% return. Or we can lay a run or two even, or we can bet Scherzer to get the win, and that's where I'm at on it. So I'm going to split it between the money line and Scherzer to get the win. All the money I made off this game yesterday, that's what we talked about, this money line stack. And you can actually stack it one more time for tomorrow. I don't like Carrasco versus Feed as much as I like Scherzer versus Corbin. This is a dominant matchup on both sides. The Mets hitters will dominate Corbin, and Scherzer will dominate Washington. This is, if there's an easy gimme play in baseball, this is it. When you get this kind of matchup. So, that's where I'm at. I said yesterday we're going to do this as a two-part play. Here it is today. Mets money line. Mets Scherzer to win. If you can same game parlay that, it's even better. You're going to get a little odds boost. But I'm keeping mine separate just in case for some reason Scherzer goes 7 innings and the Mets haven't scored for some reason, which I don't think will happen. But it could, or maybe Scherzer goes out early with an injury. There's some other things that could factor in. But I think Scherzer goes easily 7, gets the win. I think the Mets will be up 5-0 or better by then. I think Scherzer dominates Washington. And I think that the Mets smash Corbin. And you could go the other route. You could flip it around and you could take Corbin to lose the game. The problem with Corbin loses in the game is if he doesn't go enough innings to record the loss, you could lose that way. You know, if he only goes 3 innings and then the next guy comes in and goes 4 and gets all the runs scored on him, I mean, there's some things that could make you lose that bet as well. So, but where I'm at on it is New York Mets, half of the money from yesterday. Scherzer to win, the other half, pushing it through. This is how you turn bad money lines into good profits, is you make cumulative style of bets. All right. You knew yesterday that the Mets were most likely going to win the game. It started out slow, but then the Mets blew up. I think it ended up being 7-3 or something. Today, you get the massive pitching matchup, the huge pitching matchup in your favor. Plus, the Mets bomb Corbin. They kill him. And he is terrible, absolutely terrible. And I didn't put this one out yesterday, but I missed it. Dallas Keuchel was pitching for Texas, and that was an easy fade. Guys, anytime Patrick Corbin or Dallas Keuchel is pitching, you fade them. Fade them every time because they give up runs, and they give them up in bunches. Fade them two guys every time. But anyways, so today we got the Mets money line and Scherzer. It's all one play from yesterday. It's just a good continuation. It's an easy win. If you made whatever you made yesterday, you're piling it on plus the unit bet or 2 or whatever units you played. Now you're getting, even though you're having to give up an ugly money line, you're using the profits from yesterday. It's kind of like pressing your bets in craps or blackjack or something. You're pressing your bets up so the next hit is more valuable. And that's where we're at here. So that's an easy play, guys. That should be the easiest play of the day. There shouldn't be a lot that goes wrong in that one. All right, so I got a crazy play that I found. I found a crazy number. This crazy number. Illinois State versus Wisconsin today in college football. The over and under is 40. There's spots that it's been at 38. All right, guys, I understand that Illinois State is an FCS school or whatever, and I understand that Wisconsin had a quote-unquote down year offensively last year. But when I dug deeper into this, Wisconsin did not have all that down of a year offensively. A lot of the similar games to this one where they played weaker opponents all went over 40. Well, 4 out of 6 went out over 40, and one of them was 38. What it was is Wisconsin wasn't as explosive as normal, but that was last year, and they've got better. And Illinois State is absolutely atrocious. They're bad in Division I AA or whatever they play in. So are you going to get a lot out of Illinois State for this one? No, you're not. You'll be if you get 7 to 10 out of Illinois State, that's bonus points. All right? But what you are going to get here is you're going to get Wisconsin to mash these guys. Wisconsin goes 3+ on the offensive line. Illinois State's defensive line is like 230 across. All right? Wisconsin's going to be able to drive every drive, run the ball down the field, and score touchdowns. They're going to break big plays here in this one. So what we're looking for is, I think Wisconsin's going to cover the whole 40. I think Wisconsin goes over 40 points by themselves, covers this over. I think we do get a couple drops in the bucket at the end of the game, added in from the Illinois State side. I think they get down and maybe kick a couple field goals, just a little bonus points. But I don't think we have to worry about it. I think Wisconsin gets the whole 40 by themselves. And if you're getting that 38 or 38 and a half, hey, more power to you. But I think from when I did a deep dive into this one, and I saw this crazy number. I took a deep dive into this one. There is nothing on any of this that tells me that Wisconsin won't flirt with 50 points. Everything I see says that Wisconsin will come close to 7 touchdowns, if not score 7 touchdowns. So that's like their floor, right? So that's 49 points. Their floor is 7 touchdowns, guys. That's not quite 2 touchdowns a quarter. That is how dominant they will be offensive and defensively. Illinois State's going to have turnovers, so you're probably going to get a defensive score. You're probably going to get 10 3 and outs in this one. Wisconsin's going to have the ball a lot on offense, very little on defense, and I think they'll get a defensive score, maybe even a special team score. This is just one of those steamroller games, and this is what gets me, guys. The spread in this one is 33. 33. So they're expecting Wisconsin to barely cover the spread and get to 40 points. And Illinois is what, 7 or 3, or it's just insanity. This is a bad number, especially if you're getting. I saw some 42, so it's kind of spread wide. It's like when I looked at the market, I saw some 38s all up to 42s, but most numbers were landing in 40. That's why I called it a 40. Guys, this is a good play. Bar none, you're going to get 90% of the points at least from Wisconsin. The only thing that could stop Wisconsin a little bit is if they kick some field goals. If they have a couple drives that end in field goals, which I don't think they will, I think they will just mash all the way down the field, running the football. I doubt they'll even have to throw the football. They probably will because they want to practice. But, guys, they're going to use this as a warm-up, and they're going. I think they're going to bump 50 or past 50. So this total's too low. This total's way too low. In my opinion, this total should be at least 48, and that gives you. I don't understand why the line makers have this at 40. I read a little into it and I researched a little bit, and they're worried that Wisconsin's offense isn't going to produce and that Wisconsin's defense is going to shut out Illinois State. I don't think it matters whether they shut them out or not. I don't think it does. I think that Wisconsin's offense is going to beat this number by themselves. And so Illinois State, whatever they do is fine with me. I actually think, like I said, that Illinois State is going to throw some points to Wisconsin. I think Illinois State is going to have some routes that get jumped and pick sixes. And this is a very similar game to me to the Tennessee game earlier in the season, where Tennessee was just going to score so many points it didn't matter. And this is kind of the same way. I think Wisconsin just never gets stopped. I doubt they even punt. I don't see where this number should be this low. I love it. I put it out to my people, to the purchasers. Guys, this is a money game. Even better, I know people, you hear all the time, don't tease totals, don't tease college footballs. BS. If you tease this down to 34 and you pair it with something else that you like, guys, that's a free teaser leg. 34 points. If Wisconsin doesn't hit 34 by themselves, they need to get out of the Big Ten. I mean, this is a free teaser leg. It's an absolutely messed up line. They missed here. If I eat my words, I eat my words here. But honestly, guys, if I end up eating my words on this one, I eat them because Wisconsin kicked too many field goals. That's the only path to this not going over. 7 touchdowns, guys, is 49 points. 6 touchdowns is 42 points. So think about it. Is Wisconsin scoring 6 touchdowns in this game? There is no doubt in my mind Wisconsin scores 6 touchdowns in this game. If you're going to take the teaser, is Wisconsin going to score 5 touchdowns in this game? There's absolutely no doubt in my mind Wisconsin scores 5 touchdowns in this game. So this is one of those ones where they missed. This happens. It happens in pro. It happens in every sport where they just missed. They missed on it. They took too many statistics probably and put them in together instead of just saying, hey, you know what? This is a big school versus a little school. There's too much talent discrepancy to stop Wisconsin from scoring at least 6 touchdowns. It's just too much talent discrepancy. And like I said, I may eat these words, but it'll have to be something really weird. And here's the other thing is when you're taking this over, if you happen to get the luckiness of Illinois State, like let's say Illinois State runs a kickback, all right, stuff that doesn't really have to do with Wisconsin being good or bad. They run a kickback. Great. Now you only need 5 touchdowns from Wisconsin. So it's one of those spots where the number's bad and we're going to take advantage of it. And you can make the number worse with a teaser. So it's just value. It's a good spot. You're a 40 in college football, 40 over and under 40. I don't even know how many games have went under 40 already. Probably less than 5. There can't be very many that have went under 40. It's just such an unusual thing that happens in college football. Teams don't score at least 40 points combined. It's not the NFL, guys. It's not Georgia, Alabama. It's not, it's not those teams. It's Wisconsin versus Illinois State. So just out the door, they're giving Wisconsin 34 points. Right out the door. That's what the line makers are saying because the spread's 33.5. So they're out the door. They're giving them the 34 so that the teaser would get you. So everything here points toward this is a bad number. I can't believe this number hasn't been run through the ceiling. And it may be waiting late. These sharp guys, these big money guys may be waiting late on this one. We might see it climb. But I just don't see it. I don't think we're going to get much from Illinois State, like I said. If we get 3, great. If we get 6 or maybe a touchdown, fantastic. It doesn't matter. I think Wisconsin, I think Wisconsin has at least 28 points in the first half. First half, at least 28. There's a good chance they have in the 30s in the first half, which sure makes this a really easy number to go over. Just nothing here tells me this is an under. I'm on it. I love this one. I absolutely love this one. I'm going to give you the game to pair it with. The Arkansas Razorbacks are -6.5. This is the game you pair this game with. This Wisconsin total over with the Arkansas Razorbacks 6.5 down to half. Guys, I've put out a couple times, different times to my purchasers. I've put out on here. I've put out via some YouTube stuff. Arkansas and Cincinnati. This is a hyped up game that is not equal. Cincinnati lost 6 players in the first 109 draft picks. They lost their quarterback, their 2 best corners, 2 receivers, and a linebacker, defensive lineman, outside linebacker type guy. Out of these 6 players, these were their 6 best players if you don't count some offensive linemen and stuff. But as far as like skill position type players, these were their 6 best players. And they lost them to the NFL draft. Arkansas lost 1 player. Arkansas lost one of their best players, their best receiver, Traylon Burks, to the draft, which is going to be a loss. But they replaced him with an Oklahoma transfer in Hazelwood, which will be equivalent or very similar. What Arkansas returned was 4 offensive linemen that have over 100 starts as a group. Their quarterback, fourth-year guy. Basically, their whole defense minus 2 defensive linemen that were effective, but against the weaker conference foe, I feel like the Arkansas still has the advantage. They returned their good secondary guys. Arkansas's 260-pound quarterback is going to run it down Cincinnati's throat. Arkansas is a run-first team. Cincinnati is going to have a very hard time stopping the Razorbacks from just continually churning out yards in this one. The Cincinnati defense, I feel like, will be on the field a lot. And Arkansas will make a ton of first downs. And it's in Razorback Stadium. It's in Arkansas. This is a bad spot for Cincinnati. Cincinnati is overrated in this spot. I don't know that Arkansas is underrated because they're at 19. They're probably somewhere between 10 and 20, so that doesn't bother me there. But I do think Cincinnati's losses, guys, this is not Alabama. This is not Georgia or Ohio State. Cincinnati's not even like Clemson or teams that can just reload year in and year out. It takes them a couple years, and you cannot lose your 4-year starter stud quarterback and replace him the next season. It doesn't happen at these smaller schools. I think Cincinnati has a bad day today. I think that by the time the game ends, this is a 17-point win for the Hogs, and I think that's the floor. I think it's just a bad spot for them. Hogs basically are the same team from last year. Cincinnati is not, and I think it's getting portrayed that way, that they're closer in talent, but they're not. It's just not there. Cincinnati lost too much. If this game was played in week 7, I might think differently, because then Cincinnati will have some time to build around their new pieces. But it's week 1, home opener for an SEC team. Arkansas is looked at as one of kind of the sleeper teams in college football. Talent-wise, they're a veteran team. This is just, like I said, this is a bad spot for Cincinnati, but it's a perfect spot to pair this teaser together when you'll have Wisconsin and Illinois State to go over 34, and you'll have Arkansas to just win the game. All they'll have to do is win the game. It's a good teaser spot, guys. I like Arkansas minus 6.5 as well. I actually took some alternate lines on this one and took them up to 9.5, because I do think this is going to be somewhat of a blowout by the end of the game. But anyways, that's where I'm at today, guys. If you haven't checked out my website and got on my purchase, $25 a month for everything I do. The Discord should be up and running. You should be able to activate it now, guys, for anyone that hasn't done that yet, or if you're having, because if you've already entered your coupon code for all you guys that already purchased, I may have to work through that and figure out, we may have to send you guys another coupon code or something to get into the Discord, or may have to invite you or something at first here. But today on the Razorback game, during the Razorback game, guys, I'm going to be on my Discord talking about it, maybe putting in some live betting plays on it. I just think that it's the game where the value will be there. I think maybe we'll get some spots where, we'll be able to bet, some halftime stuff, some different things. Another one I really liked for that, guys, I'm going to talk about this game a little bit. I don't have a play in on it, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. Is the Oregon and Georgia game is so interesting, because Oregon's new coaching staff came from Georgia. So they came from Georgia. And he plucked a quarterback out of the SEC in Bo Nix. And this spread is high. It's at 17, which is weird to me. Now, I get that it's basically a home game for Georgia because it's in Mercedes-Benz over there in Atlanta. It's in where the Falcons play. But Georgia did lose some pieces. They lost basically their whole defensive line. I mean, Georgia just had so many guys go in the draft. Right now it is Georgia, and they just reload every year. So I don't think there will be much of a drop-off in talent. But the one thing is the defensive coordinator from Georgia last year is the head coach for Oregon now. And that's what gets me on this one. I feel like that defensive coordinator is going to know those players as well as anyone else. and he's going to know where their weaknesses are. And it's not like Oregon will be an untalented team, right? It's not like Oregon is going to be a weak team coming in. They're going to be a very talented team as far as skill goes. So I actually think that this one, the Oregon game in the Georgia, in my opinion, I think you can take both halves, like kind of separately and kind of live betting wise, because in the first half I think you can get Oregon plus 8.5, and in the second half you can get Oregon plus 8.5. And so what I feel like is that you could take this game like this. You could bet Oregon plus 8.5 in the first half. If it misses, you could go on and bet it in the second half. If it hits, you just collect your money. I think Oregon is going to stay close in one of the halves, like, or maybe the whole game. But what I'm getting at is that I think that the plan for Oregon will not be to, like, try to go head up with Georgia as far as size and skill goes. I think what Oregon will kind of play keep away, and they'll do a lot of movement, a lot of motion stuff, and I think they're going to try to get a lot of like first downs and just kind of. I think the score is going to be low, is what I'm getting at. I think that the total of the game is actually going to be pretty low, and I think that lends to taking those points each half, separate though, not just taking the big number at the end. I think you take the first half. If it hits, then great. Maybe you put half the money back into the second half, or maybe none. You just collect. But if it misses, you got your chance in the second half as well. Because I do think Oregon will either win one of the halves, or they'll be right there for it. They'll be right there in it. Uh, I actually don't think this is as lopsided as people, and it has to do with the coaching situation where the defensive coordinator for Georgia is now at Oregon. And starting week one, I feel like he's going to have a pretty significant advantage on knowing these players at Georgia, and knowing where their weaknesses and understanding how to beat them better than anybody probably. I just think it's a weird dynamic, and it's basically a home game for Georgia, so I do think Georgia will win the game. But it's just a weird dynamic. I think those points are very attractive, but only in the halves. I think the overall game Georgia could cover, but I think that they could lose one half, or at least lose one half against the spread. And I don't know. It's just a weird one. Like I said, I haven't bet no money on it yet, but I just really like the dynamic of it. I think it's a very interesting situational play. And honestly, if you just want to take a shot, Oregon on just the money line for the upset is kind of an interesting value shot in this one. Even though I do think Georgia will win, it wouldn't blow my mind if Oregon came in and was able to do some things because of their knowledge of Georgia that really caused Georgia some problems. And I could definitely see, like, kind of a miracle-y win at the end. You know, maybe they know some angles and some things Georgia does on third downs and just different things that help Oregon be successful in the game. But I don't know. I just think the half and half play kind of makes sense in there. Again, I haven't done it. It doesn't mean I won't do it. It just I haven't done it yet. It may happen when the game starts up. I may just take a little waiver on there and be like, okay, let me see what happens. You know, especially if we jump out and the Mets are up 6-0 in the first inning or something like that's happened before against Corbin. You know, I might go on and just chunk some money on that Oregon side. But again, guys, that's where I'm at today. So just to recap, we got that Mets money line stack going. However you're going to play the Mets today, if you're interested in that, if you did it yesterday, you're moving in today. You should have the capital to go on and push through on the Mets today. The best pitching matchup you can have. Scherzer versus Corbin. Then we got Wisconsin over 40. Wisconsin, Illinois State total game over 40. It's too low, guys. It's way too low. If you're going to tease it down, it's even better. Remember, teasing it down, you'll have to have 5 touchdowns in the game. Wisconsin will score 5 touchdowns. At least. I think Wisconsin scores 7 touchdowns in the game, but I for sure think they score 5. I don't ever see that not happening. And then for the other play to go with that Wisconsin teaser, we're going to take the Razorbacks, take that 6.5 down to a half. I like the Razorbacks anyway. I like the Razorbacks money line. I like the Razorbacks minus 6.5. I like the Razorbacks alternative spread up to 9.5. Everything about the Razorbacks I like today. Uh, Even their rushing props, I like. If you're going to bet the running back to go over so many yards, I like it. I think I got mine at 76. So, and I actually got the quarterback over 33 or 32.5 or something like that as well. I got a lot of money in on this game. Obviously, I know the SEC better than every other conference. The second best conference I know is probably the Big Ten. So that's where I mostly stick my money, and that's where I mostly hang out when I'm betting college football. I tend to not deviate much, but that's where I'm at, guys. Hopefully, you guys are getting on these picks and hopefully getting some winners in there. And like I said, if you haven't checked out wagermethis.com, go check it out. You can get the rest of my information, the rest of my picks. The forum is getting up and available. I'm going to be on there giving out live betting information, giving out angles, giving out any new picks I find as the day goes on, as well as guys. You just get all my other information. You get every single information play I make. I'm going to start. We're building a tab to get the computer models up there, so you can just click over to the computer model, weekly in and weekly out, and then you can just kind of see where teams are at there. We're getting that going. But yeah, $25 a month is nothing as far as handicapping goes. Easily will make it back today. If you purchase today, you will make it back today on these plays. The plays, I have some other plays than this up for my purchasers. So if you purchase today, you can go look at it, and there's some other plays, some other really good plays that I didn't obviously give out for free. So again, wagermethis.com. Check it out. It's $25 a month, guys. It is a value, a bargain. Anyways, you guys have a great day. This is Jacob from Wager Me This.